Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I will be discussing the video game Black Mesa. I'm going to be trying to do an intermix of voiceover and just speaking to the camera like so. We'll see how that goes. I dusted the room yesterday and I'm allergic to dust, so my throat is a little bit unhappy with me. Oh well, it's my own fault. So, we'll see how things go. I have some tea with me. That should help. Yummy. So, base is done. Eyes are set. Let's get going. Before we start, a quick spoiler warning because I will be covering everything. I've never played the game, but I do know the storyline. So, let's get going. Now, why am I doing Black Mesa? Well, because I feel a good friend of mine would enjoy it, and the last time I actually managed to properly speak with said friend, I had no time to properly explain Black Mesa. Additionally, my brother greatly enjoys it. He absolutely loves the game. He went through Black Mesa and its subsequent games afterwards like that. Went through it so fast. Yeah, so that's why I'm doing Black Mesa as the first video game. So, Black Mesa started its life as a pet project of a group of individuals called the Crowbar Collective. They were just trying to upgrade one of their favorite games, Half-Life. Revamp the graphics, rejig the parts of the game players of Half-Life found annoying or just plain janky, and overall make the game more fun to play. The original Half-Life was originally made by Valve, who are now the owners of Steam. So a decently sized company. So, what do you think happened when they heard of this little group remaking their games without permission? Well, unlike other large game companies that stamp down everything under the sun with a copyright claim, Nintendo! Valve went, "Hey, good job! Here, have some free advertisement." That's right. The creators of the original game advertised an unlicensed remake of their game on their own platform, Steam. Right where other gamers could see it. Now, unfortunately, they couldn't get the copyright to the music used in the original Half-Life. However, the person they hired to do the new music did a dang good job, did an amazing job capturing the feel of the game. The feel of everything. Okay. The feel of everything that they wanted for it. Captured everything perfectly. The one complaint that I had, though, was at least in the cutscenes that I watched in order to get the story for this. The music was very loud and made it a little bit difficult to hear and understand what characters were saying. So, that was the only thing I had. The game was a big success. The Crowbar Collective had wonderfully remade Half-Life. People who had played the original Half-Life loved the new and improved Black Mesa, and new players fell in love with it. So overall, that's the backstory of Black Mesa, if you can call it that. So, how's about I tell you the overall story of what actually happens within the Half-Life games? They're all first-person shooters. You play as the main character, Gordon Freeman, a young 20-something MIT grad working for the titular Black Mesa Corporation. The first game starts out with him coming into work a little bit late. Not the worst thing, I'm sure we've all been there. Upon finally getting to work, Gordon gets dressed in a high-tech hazmat suit, shoved into a sealed room and told to push a volatile material into a beam in order to test it. This jumpstarts everything to come, as said volatile material proceeds to explode, opening a portal to another world and bringing an absolute crap load of creatures all hell-bent on killing everything they come across through said portal. The first of these lovely creatures that poor Gordon ends up coming across in his search for survivors is this lovely little thing that looks like a quadrupedal, naked, headless chicken called a head crab. What happens when a head crab comes across somebody? Well, this. They attach themselves to the person's head, eating everything inside but the skull, and taking control of them, transforming them into these zombie-like things. They're literally called head crab zombies. Head crabs are the weakest enemy of the game and can be easily dispatched with a couple good swings of a crowbar. The crowbar is probably the most iconic weapon of the Half-Life series, next to the gravity gun, but that doesn't show up until Half-Life 2. As Gordon runs around the Black Mesa facility trying to save as many people as he can, a job thrust upon him and not something he ever asked for, he comes across more evidence of carnage and deadly creatures, such as the very common ceiling barnacle, as I call them. They just attach themselves to the ceiling, let down this long tentacle-like thing, and that just wraps around anything it touches, and then pulls it up and eats it. That's literally anything it comes across. One of the best ways of killing these things is to throw an exploding barrel at the tentacle thing. The moment the barnacle bites into the barrel, it explodes, killing it and hopefully another one or two nearby. There are also these things that I don't know what they're called, but they seem to emit some sort of concussive blast, and these large tentacle things that I'm sure are attached to something, but you never really see it and you have to kill it by launching a rocket. And then there's the Vortigons, these guys. In Black Mesa / Half-Life 1, they are an enemy that you have to obviously deal with, and they, kill anyone and everyone they come across. But at the same time, wouldn't you get rather violent if you just suddenly popped up in a strange, unusual land where everything you come across is trying to kill you? Yeah. I'd get a little violent too. Along the line, the military moves in to deal with the situation at Black Mesa. This means killing everyone witness to the destruction of the facility. Their primary target? Gordon, as he was at ground zero of this whole mess. This obviously means that the military becomes a further obstacle in Gordon and the survivors' escape. During all this, Gordon gets transported to the planet from where all these deadly creatures are from. Xen, spelt X-E-N. This is where the music really kicks in and becomes really, really good. Unfortunately, of course, I can't play anything here due to copyright reasons, but I will do my best to try and link some in. I think my light is dying. I will try my best to link some into the video, and if I can't, you should look it up. Believe me, this stuff is really good. Like, really good. But, for story, Gordon is just trying to survive and get back to Earth. After, Gordon kills a large being known as a Nihilith? A mysterious man only known as G-Man approaches him and offers him a job. This unfortunately is an offer Gordon cannot refuse if he wants to live. And this is where the first game ends. Half-Life 2 and subsequent games all take place 20 years after the original. I shouldn't say the original, the first. Where Gordon is just dropped into a world that has been forced to adapt to whatever the aftermath was of the original Black Mesa incident. Really shouldn't be talking while trying to do this. Everything is different. All native animals have been eradicated and replaced with the fauna of Zen. People either live in heavily policed cities under the rule of the Combine, an interdimensional empire that invaded Earth after the Black Mesa incident, and won, obviously. Or they live in settlements outside these cities. These cities are mostly inhabited by rebels, people who are just against the Combine, and survivors of the Black Mesa incident. After Gordon reunites with the rebels, he is outfitted with his hazmat suit and a crowbar. The scientists then send him and Alex Vance, the daughter of one of the scientists who Gordon was working with in Black Mesa, Eli, to the main rebel facility. They do this by using their experimental teleporter. Alex goes first. Everything goes good. It's successful. Gordon's attempt, however, does not. Thanks to a misbehaving pet headcrab, yes, you heard that right, Gordon ended up somewhere else, where the Combine are put on high alert to his resurfacing. Pulling Gordon back, they find the teleporter broken, so Gordon has to go it on foot. After getting to Rebel HQ, Gordon gets the gravity gun, which is another one of Half-Life's more iconic weapons. While testing out said gravity gun, he gets noticed by a Combine scanner. So, they raid the HQ. During said raid, Eli is abducted and imprisoned. So off Gordon and Alex go to rescue Eli and another scientist that was taken in the raid. A scientist by the name of Mossman. After making it to the prison and rescuing Eli and Mossman, Mossman shows her true colors and teleports herself and Eli to a Combine tower called the Citadel. And thus, off Gordon and Alex go again to rescue her father. They teleport themselves to the facility Gordon started out at. However, it's a week later. They ended up in a teleport loop for an entire week before coming out. During their time in that teleportation loop, the breakout of Eli had become a signal to start the rebellion against the Combines. So when they came out into an active war zone. So now Gordon and Alex have to move through an active war zone in order to reach the Citadel. Once they reach the Citadel, they fight their way to Eli. Unfortunately, they are stopped and imprisoned. Mossman then comes to regret her decisions and releases Gordon, Alex, and Eli. Everything goes to hell after that. The reactor in the Citadel goes critical and explodes. Just before Gordon and Alex are taken out by the explosion, everything stops. Time stops, everything stops, Alex stops, and the G-Man shows up. He shows up to remove Gordon, because his job is done. He's no longer needed there. So, time to go. And that's where Half-Life 2 ends. Half-Life 2 episodes 1 and 2 take place afterwards. So, Half-Life 2 episodes 1 and 2 take place immediately following Half-Life 2. And they begin with the Vortigaunts showing up. A large group of them breaking through the time stasis and freeing both Alex and Gordon. getting them out of the hands of the G-Man. They go and delay the explosion, which was actually designed to send a message to the Combine homeworld. After finally getting out of the city, the Citadel blows up, sending that message. After the shockwave derails the train they are on, Gordon and Alex try to hide from a Combine mech called a Hunter. However, Alex is found and gravely injured. To save her, Gordon gets the help of some more Vortigaunts, and has to go and invade an antlion nest. These are these annoying big-ass bugs. In order to get some extract? Some stuff that the Vortigaunts say they need in order to save Alex's life. So he goes, gets the stuff, brings it back, and the Vortigaunts save Alex. After saving Alex, they move on to reunite with Eli. Upon doing so, Alex gives her father a copy of the Combine message she made back at the Citadel. She also hands over a message from Mossman with information on a ship called the Borealis, made by Aperture Sciences, linking the Portal games with Half-Life. The rebels then fire a rocket, closing a massive portal to the Combine homeworld. And just as Eli, Alex, and Gordon finish breathing a sigh of relief, a big thing called a Combine Advisor. Yes, I had to look these up. Comes in, immobilizes Gordon and Alex, and kills Eli. And that's where the game ends. That's where the story ends. Sort of. Another game, Half-Life Alyx, takes place in between Half-Life 1 and 2. And there is a credit scene at the end of it. Or end credit scene at the end of it. That completely retcons the end of Half-Life 2 Episode 2 by saving Eli. Eli is saved because Alex kills the advisor before it has a chance to kill her father, and is abducted by the G-Man, thus setting up another Half-Life game, which has not come out. But up to now, that is everything. Everything available, everything that has occurred. And my makeup's done. Complete. So that's it. That's everything. That was the conception of Black Mesa and the subsequent Half-Life games. And their story. Yeah. But yeah. Half-Life. Now, I'm not a definitive source for any of this. If there were mistakes, and I'm certain there were, then I'm sorry. If you know I made a mistake, if you have any information that I missed that is important, if there's anything at all that you think I could have added or whatever, you can say it down below, because like I said, I know I missed stuff. I know I made mistakes. I'm not a definitive source. If you want to know about it, go look yourself. Believe me, it's interesting enough that you should go look yourself anyway. And with that, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you like what you heard. Again, like I said last week, let me know which format you like. Solely rambling, solely voiceover, or like this, a mix of both. And with that, I will see you next week. Bye!